Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? All right, so I wanted to talk about a topic that is obviously not talked about because it's very uncomfortable for people to look at. It's uncomfortable for me to look at, and I'll try to give you some examples of this topic, which is when shit hits the fan and your stuff comes up. Basically, like how are our relationships based on our stuff coming up or pushing our shit down? And how is our relationship with ourself when we, for example, are in a relationship with someone and that relationship is based on an agreement where if our stuff comes up, we push it back down. For example, or whether it's a work related relationship or whatever else kind of relationship. Um, it could be a marriage or not. But more intimately, when our stuff comes up, it's not, we don't know what to do. It's not our fault we don't know what to do. We weren't educated on what to do when our stuff comes up. Obviously, it's not a very popular topic because we have the tendency to look away from when our shit comes up. The tendency is to look away or just to hold it in, and we either become inflated egos and rage, or we become damaged or wounded egos or whatever. So we either become larger than life, or we feel we're not good enough when our stuff comes up. You may feel shame. You may feel shame if your stuff comes up. If you have toxic shame. And I'm just sitting here thinking about how in our culture and society, a lot of our interactions and relationships are ones in which we push our stuff down, we repress it, we suppress it, when that we know that's not healthy, but we weren't taught how to deal with that. And it's like we may have a relationship where we made the agreement, either consciously or unconsciously, that we have our bags of stuff and we will carry each other's bags of shit so that we don't have to deal with it, don't have to look at it. And that just shows how repressed and suppressed the society really is when we look deep enough. We see how things are bottled up. Emotions are bottled up. And when our stuff comes up, it doesn't feel very good. And it's very hard work to deal with when our shit comes up. It's one thing and it's good to be aware of it, but that's not enough. There's a lot of work to be done. And I can't emphasize this enough that for a solution to when your shit comes up, a solution that I found can be found on a website where the website is why on earth is this happening to me again? I think that's what the website is. If you go there, there's a lot of free resources, and there's one resource called the worksheet, the forgiveness worksheet. And basically, when your stuff comes up, you have this worksheet that you work out. It's not easy to do because it's very hard. You have to be self-honest and look at yourself and see what's causing this commotion. And usually it's because your stuff is coming up. In which case, you go to the website, why on earth is this happening to me? And you look for the forgiveness worksheet. I could do a video on that too, but I will just keep it brief for now. One of the things on the worksheet is to breathe through it. And you have to admit that you're wrong. You have to admit that you have punishing thoughts, either towards yourself or others. And that's all I'll say right now as far as the worksheet. So, if I can give you an example for this to make more sense, let's say there's a therapist and a patient, and the patient's shit is triggering the therapist's shit. Well, the therapist may one day just say, you know what, I can't see you anymore, because it's like as soon as their shit comes up, as soon as they're triggered, it's like we gotta shove it right back down. And if you could understand that, just picture people living their lives that way, where it's like, oh no, I can't go there. I can't bring that out of me. You know, that's too dark or whatever. And it just shows how much we repress stuff. We repress shit. And how much our interactions are based on how can you hold my shit down for me so that I will not have to deal with it. It's not a very compassionate society that we live in. And so we all have bags that we carry. We all have shit. When shit hits the fan, our shit comes up. And, you know, you could be secure financially, emotionally, have a great job, great wife, and still, when your shit comes up, you could still run away like a wounded child. You know, you could still shove that shit back down and still be repressive and still be wounded, and it won't help. So, what is there? My question is, what is there to fear about your shit coming up? Because usually when people's shit comes up, they usually cry. It's usually people are wearing a mask, and when their shit comes up, and they break down, that you will see a different side of people. You see the people it's like one dimensional, the way we see people. When they're really multi-dimensional, there's different aspects to people, and we think we know someone, but when their shit comes up, and they're either a inflated personality or a broken personality, you will see how wounded they are. And we're still not at the point where we're even willing to do that work. And it's just like, when are we ever going to get our shit together and move forward so that we can let go of the things and bring out the things that we keep pushing down? So our whole society is based on this. The whole fear of feminine energy is based on this. The whole control of the feminine by religion is based on this. You know, it's like the feminine is a good example because it's so repressed in our society. Even within men, it's like, oh no, they just shove it right down. And then what happens is I'll do another video on this, but we obscure our sense of I amness. So, like I said, you could be the toughest person, the most successful. The question is, in the moment that your shit comes up, who are you and what will you do? Because it's hard work. It is inner work, and you have to be willing to take the time out to work through it. And it's scary. But it's scarier repressing it, actually. And that is, the whole concept of the shadow is based on repressing stuff. So breathing is one tool for when your shit comes up. You breathe. You soften your body. Relax the body parts that are tense. You anchor yourself in the breath, which is the breath of life. And then when you relax your body, your inner rigid structures begin to crumple and fall apart. The veil starts to be lifted. But even that is not enough. That's why I recommend the worksheets, which will guide you step by step through the process of forgiveness. I only bring up this worksheet just because it's specifically for when your shit comes up. I have experience with it, and I've seen other people who have experience with it. And we're part of a group called Mind Shifters, where we talk about this. We talk about the website, Why on Earth Is This Happening to Me? Because when we stop our breathing, we are holding down stuff we don't want to look at. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is the stuff we don't want to look at in ourselves. But even scientists know, and common sense knows, that if we hold this in, it eventually creates disease in the body. And so it's a holistic process. It affects the whole body. Like we have warning systems sometimes in our body, and we sometimes ignore them. Like if a fire alarm went off in the building, and we ignored it, and there was a fire, we could get killed, actually. So could get hurt. It's the same thing with denial of what's going on within ourselves. If we deny it, we can get hurt. So it's actually more painful to hold on. And this is the therapeutic aspect of working with your shit coming up. Is a lot of emotions will come up, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of crying, a lot of rage, a lot of very uncomfortable feelings. And when you do this with a group of people, it's very uncomfortable. But I've seen people just break down and cry. And it's interesting. So there you have it. I gave you a tool. If you're willing to do it, it's basically homework to do. The worksheets are dreaded, but the worksheets are, and I don't mean to sound really religious, but they're based on Jesus or Yahshua's ancient teachings of forgiveness, which the Bible doesn't really go deep into the process, which the worksheet will explain to you, and which I explain to you about the breathing techniques. And I could explain to you now more about the teachings of Jesus that tie into that, but I could do it in another video. But I already started to talk about it when I talked about breathing, softening the rigid structures, and finding a place of stillness, recognizing the breath as life, as one life. And there's more to it. I might just do a video on that. So that is when your shit comes up in a nutshell. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.